Today I'm going to be talking to you about the 5 best glute max exercises that you can do to become a stronger and powerful runner. The glute max is that beefy butt muscle that's on the back side of your body, and it's not only the strongest and most powerful muscle used in the body, but it's also one of the powerhouse muscles that you use in running once you're in that push-off stage and you're ready to swing your leg forward. So it's really important that the muscle is nice and strong, and also we get into enough of that hip extension so it's activated correctly. In my last video, I talked about how to activate the glute correctly, so if you want to check that out, and then come into these 5 exercises. You're going to want to use a dumbbell for these exercises. The more resistance and the more load you can adapt your body to, the more powerful and stronger you'll become, and that will carry over into running. So let's start with a lateral lunge. So I'm going to hold that weight by my side, and I'm going to step the opposite leg out to the side, bringing that dumbbell down towards my foot, and I'm coming back up into a lateral lunge. Now with the weight by my side versus on my shoulder, this becomes more of a hip dominant lateral lunge. This becomes more of a quad based dominant lateral lunge. Okay, so I'm going to keep it by my side because I'm targeting that glute max. So from the side, stick your butt back. You can lean forward a little bit, keep that back flat, and come up. So I'm not bringing the dumbbell all the way down to the ground because then I would round my back, and I want to prevent that. So I'm just going about mid-shin and come back up. Exercise number 2 is a single leg deadlift. So I'm going to show you a modification to start if you can't balance on one leg yet, and that seems really difficult. So you can start in a kickstand position. So one foot is in front, and then my toes on the ground in the back. I have my weight in the opposite hand as the lead leg, and all I'm going to do is slight bend in that front knee, kick my hips back into that hip hinge, and I'm going to bring that dumbbell close to my body, come to about mid-shin. I feel it really pulling my glutes and my hamstring, and I'm going to slowly come back up, okay? So first step, hip hinge backwards, and back stays flat, and I come back up. The next progression is lifting that back leg up. And come back up. It's important that your hips stay square to the ground, and you're not rotating that back hip backwards, okay? You can use a wall if you need to nearby. The third exercise to really target your glute max is a single leg squat. So I'm going to ditch the dumbbell for now, and I'm going to bring out a slider. Okay, so this slider is really great for getting my form down. So I'm going to start with my hands on my hips. My foot has the slider under it, and all I'm going to do is stick my butt back, keep my pelvis equal, so my hands are same level. I'm not dropping one side of my pelvis as I bring that leg forward and come back up. Okay, if you want to progress this, I recommend get rid of that slider and then bring this leg behind you and come back up. So from the side. So I'm really focusing on bending that knee that my stance leg is on. Good. And then as you progress there, then you can start adding in a dumbbell with a single leg. If you follow my Instagram, you know I love unilateral exercises. So this is like one of my favorites for glute max strengthening. The fourth exercise is a hip thrust. So I'm going to go ahead and use a box. You can use a chair or couch. And I'm going to get down so my shoulders are basically just leaning against that box. So you can start with double leg hip thrust, where you're really just focusing on squeezing your glutes to lift your pelvis up. Or you can switch to a single leg, lifting up and down. You're keeping this pretty controlled as you go up and down, and then you can progress by holding a dumbbell on your pelvis as you continue to go up and down. Okay, now you can make this exercise into a strength exercise or power exercise depending on what your goals are. So if it's a strength exercise, you're using like a medium weight, you're focusing on that control down and up. You're not necessarily thrusting your pelvis up with speed, versus if it's a power movement, you might be going faster with less reps because your focus there is more on speed. So if it's more strength, you're doing about 8 to 10 reps, nice and controlled. And if it's for power, you're doing about 4 to 6 reps, nice and quick. The last exercise to really strengthen your glute max is a kettlebell swing. You can use a kettlebell. I'm going to show you with a dumbbell. So you're going to hold one end of that dumbbell, knees slightly bent, and I'm going to hold it with both hands. And this is really just a hip thrust, and your arms are just going with that momentum that your hips are providing. Okay, so you swing that weight through your legs, thrust up and back down. So my arms are just going with that momentum, bringing that dumbbell to about shoulder height and coming back down as I thrust my hips back and forward. Okay, so this is more of that power movement. You can see how everything is quicker and I'm doing less reps with a heavier weight.